Hello, I am Romy Rojas. This is my shed project for my ENA Engineering Architecture 2 class, period 3 from Julia Central High School. An overview of this project would be that, Mr. West, our teacher, would give us wood, this very thin and flexible pieces of wood that we would have to cut into specific sizes, shapes, to based on the blueprints that we had created in AutoCAD that we had printed out, just to get the pieces of wood to the size that we needed to be to create the shed. So before anything, we did some research on Juliet codes in our area just to see, if we were to build a shed or if we wanted the shed, what would we need to build the shed. Um, so if you look in Juliet, you need to have a plat survey with the placement of the shed clearly marked, which is what you see in the right, the bottom right. The shed with highlighted red of where it's gonna be. Like it says example location, so it'd be in one of those locations, and it'd be clearly marked and like the measurements that would be needed. You know, you would need that to if you were needed to build a shed, if you wanted the shed. If you would need to make a shed, you'd probably have to have a permit. In Joliet, you need a permit. I'm not sure if any other places that you need a permit, but in Joliet you do. And if you have a contractor building the shed for you, you need a copy of the contract so you can give it to them. And you may need permission from the homeowner associations, and I do believe that this does vary depending on the location that you are from, and you will need the measurements and cost estimates for the shed. As you can see in the right, they have the measurements and everything, and you would definitely need the cost to see how much this is gonna cost you to do. So, getting started. The studs of the shed, the long beams that go from top to bottom within the walls, hold the load from the top to the bottom, so they play an important role in creating almost any type of buildings. So if you look at any of these examples on the right, except for the trusses on the bottom, you see those long beams that go from the top to the bottom that are fully cut, fully just straight beams. Those are the studs that we're talking about, and those played the most important role in building almost any type of thing, like any building, any structural house, home, building, skyscraper, anything. Those are the keystone of creating buildings. They hold all the weight, they transfer all the load from the top to the bottom. Even those triple studs that are on top of the windows that you see on the right, in the middle, the very middle of the examples, the three examples, the window wall, the top of that window, there's those small little studs. Even though they look very small and oh, they don't do that much, but they really do. They transfer all the weight from that piece of the top all the way to the window, so it's an evenly spaced weight. So you would definitely need that for the top plate and the header. The header, as you can see in the window part, as I was talking about, is the thick piece of wood that is on top of the window. It transfers all the way down to the sole plate. It's very, important. The trusses have a triangle shape and are designed to support the load of the shed. The way they are designed, the way they are created is to help the shed have all the weight that is carrying on itself be equally distributed among itself. To start, I started in AutoCAD, we all did. And then we created all the blueprints in AutoCAD, shown on the previous slide before. After creating those CAD blueprints, I printed them out on a B-size paper that contained the drawing in a scale of 3/4 inch to a foot. As you can see in the bottom right, that's the blueprint that we printed out from AutoCAD. And after printing, I took the B-size paper and taped it to a 11 quarter by 17 quarter inch piece of cardboard. and that's on the bottom right. That's the paper that's the cardboard that is taped to. You can't see because it's the paper. But then after we taped the paper, we taped a piece of wax paper on top of everything, so that when we glue, the would would stick to the wax paper, and it would come off more easier than it would to the paper. So like we don't have those pieces of white on the wood. While we glued, we made sure not to overglue the wood so it wouldn't get stuck really bad on the wax paper. Also to mention, we try not to use as much wood like as a way to connect to the real world of not using too much cost with the waste of wood. So we would try to that maintain the cost to keep low so we wouldn't waste no wood and just use what we could get. And as you see in the top, we had this method with the pit, like with those little pins. It's like a cross. It would hold like the pieces of wood that we would be gluing together and like make sure it doesn't move while we glued. As you can see in the top right, you see all those crossed pins. And yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. We just glued them together. Nothing crazy. After construction, this part was the easiest part. After gluing all the pieces together that we need to create the shed, we are now able to put it all together, as you can see in the top right. So we had the two side walls, the window wall, and the door wall, and the 6 trusses. We put the side walls opposite of each other, and the windows and the door wall opposite each other, so like a box. And then after the walls are placed, we put the trusses on and made sure to have an equal amount of spacing between them. As you can see in the bottom right, after we got done gluing, you could just pop them off from the wax paper, and then boom, we're done with that set of walls, and then we move on to the next one, the next type of walls, which was the windows and the door. And after the door, we went to the trusses, and it was very much easy. It wasn't hard. It was very straightforward, but it just took a lot of time to do. So to reflect, what did I like most about this project? To be honest, I really did enjoy this project. It was really nice. I loved cutting the wood to the measurements that I needed to. I especially love enjoy. I really did enjoy it, like putting it all together after all the hard work. Finally putting it all together. It was like a Lego set. It just putting it all together was fun. What would I do differently? I would definitely use my time more effectively by using some time at home, because like this deadline of this project came quick. It was fast, and there were some days I was behind and I needed to catch up, but it happens. But I definitely would use my time more effectively than I did during class, just to be real, just to be honest. What advice would I give to future students? Definitely, I would say use your time, use your time, especially with the wood that you get, utilize it really well. Like use every single inch of that wood. Like try your hardest not to get more wood. Like use every last piece of wood. It would really help you. Like save them from the save the small pieces of wood for the trusses. You be very recyclable, usable. Be very be really utilizing with your wood. Thank you. Giving my credit, I would like to give some thanks to my friend Leo Smith, who is a classmate in my class. I mentioned him earlier in my other projects. I think my CO2 dragster. He helped me out with some tips on how to create the shed. Of course, I'm going to give my thanks to Mr. West for giving me the opportunity of doing this. Thank you, Mr. West. Really, it was really fun. It's really nice to just do projects like these and really just being able to just to put yourself in shoes of real world jobs that are out there. This it's the kind of job I think architecture would do. It's something nice to just do and just have fun with. And especially thanks to Leo, one of my best friends out there. He's really nice. He gave me some tips and everything, as I said before. But thank you for giving me your time and listening to me about my shed project for my engineering class. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. West, for my opportunity. And, thank you, Leo.